Close your eyes for a moment and try to go back in time to September 2008. If you were an adult then, you remember the feeling exactly. The air felt heavy. The world had a grey hue of wet concrete and fear. The 2008 crisis wasn't silent. It had a very specific soundtrack. It was the cries of despair on the New York Stock Exchange floor. It was the police sirens echoing through the canyons of Wall Street. It was the journalists on television, their faces tense, announcing that century-old banks, institutions that seemed as solid as granite mountains, were turning to dust overnight. We saw executives leaving glass buildings carrying cardboard boxes with their personal belongings. We saw for sale signs multiplying in suburban yards like a biblical plague. There was a tangibility to it all. We knew what was breaking. The financial system was collapsing. Credit was freezing. Money was disappearing. But however terrifying it was, we could point the finger at the problem. It was a crisis of numbers. It was a crisis of mathematical greed. It was a crisis of toxic mortgages and excessive leverage. And most importantly, deep down we knew it was recoverable. Money can be printed, houses can be rebuilt, jobs can return. The 2008 crisis hurt our wallets, but it didn't touch our core. Now open your eyes and look at the present. Look at the crisis unfolding right now, this very second, all around you. What is the sound of the artificial intelligence crisis? There are no sirens, there are no screams, there are no cardboard boxes being carried on the sidewalk. The sound of this crisis is absolute silence. It is the monotonous and hypnotic hum of millions of fans cooling servers in gigantic data centers hidden in deserts or at the bottom of the sea. It is the almost imperceptible sound of a finger sliding across a glass screen. It is the sound of a notification arriving on your cell phone warning that the privacy policy has changed. No one is seeing the smoke because the fire is not happening in the buildings. The fire is happening inside us. If 2008 was a financial collapse, the AI crisis is a human collapse. And it is infinitely more dangerous because it doesn't attack what we have. It attacks what we are. You feel it, don't you? There's a new anxiety in the air, a strange vibe that wasn't there 5 years ago. It's not just the fear of losing your job, although that fear is real and justified. It's something deeper. It's the feeling that the ground beneath our feet, the very reality we know, is becoming liquid. In 2008, the rules of the game were clear. If you worked hard, if you had a valuable skill, you would survive. The carpenter still knew how to hammer. The doctor still knew how to diagnose. The lawyer still knew how to argue. The crisis took their money temporarily, but it didn't take away their usefulness. Today, artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules of the game in a way that makes human skill, human dedication, and human effort irrelevant. It's not just taking away your job, it's taking away the value of your productive existence. Let's analyze the anatomy of this human collapse. It begins with the destruction of the ladder. For centuries, society has functioned based on a simple premise. Young people enter the workforce, perform simple and repetitive tasks, learn from their elders, gain experience, and climb the ladder. That's how knowledge is transferred. That's how civilization sustains itself. AI has cut off the lower rungs of that ladder. Today, a law intern no longer needs to read hundreds of case files to find a precedent. AI does it in seconds. A junior designer no longer needs to create dozens of logo sketches. AI generates 100 variations in a minute. A beginner programmer no longer needs to write the basic code. Copilot writes it for them. This sounds great for company productivity, right? Maximum profit, minimum cost. But look at the long term. If there are no more simple tasks for humans to do, how will they learn? How will they become masters if they were never apprentices? We are creating a catastrophic generational gap. We are burning the bridge that connects the present to the future. In 10 years, we will have an elite group of seniors who know what they are doing and a gigantic mass of people who never had the chance to develop a real skill because the machine did everything for them from day one. This is the first layer of the human crisis, the atrophy of competence. We are forgetting how to do things. And when we forget how to do things, we become dependent, and dependence is the opposite of freedom. Think of GPS. Before, we had a mental map of the city. We knew where north was, where the river was. Today, we blindly follow a blue line on the screen. If the battery dies, we're lost in our own neighborhood. Now expand that to all areas of life. AI will write your emails, choose your food, summarize your books, even flirt with your potential partners on dating apps. We are outsourcing our cognition. We are outsourcing the effort of thinking. And the brain is a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies. We are heading towards a society of passive, infantilized humans who expect an algorithm to tell them what to do, what to think, and what to feel. In 2008, we were victims of a corrupt banking system. In the AI crisis, we are volunteering to be pets of a superior digital system. But the crisis goes beyond competence. It strikes at the core of our identity. Purpose. Why do we do what we do? Why does a writer spend months struggling to write a novel? Why does a painter spend years studying light? Why does a scientist dedicate their life to research? Because there is value in the process. There is value in unique human expression. Generative AI is flooding the world with a torrent of mediocre, synthetic and endless content. Texts that no one wrote, images that no one painted, music that no one composed. And when everything is abundant, nothing has value. We are entering the era of content inflation. If I can generate a Shakespearean poem in 3 seconds by pressing a button, what is the value of the effort of a human poet who takes a week to write a sonnet? The machine removes the magic from the effort. It transforms art into a commodity. It transforms creativity into statistics. And for human beings, seeing their passion reduced to a replicable mathematical pattern is devastating. It's a wound to the soul. Many creatives are giving up. Many are looking at their screens and asking, why should I bother if the end result of the machine is good enough and costs zero? This nihilism, this feeling that nothing matters, is the poison that is spreading silently. And it's much worse than financial ruin. You can recover the lost money, but how do you recover the will to create? How do you recover the sparkle in the eyes of an entire generation that looks to the future and sees only an insurmountable wall of algorithms? And if that weren't enough, the AI crisis is destroying the fabric of our shared reality. In 2008, we might disagree on the causes of the crisis, but we agreed on the facts. The bank failed, the index crashed, the house was auctioned off. Those were facts. Today, we are entering the era of synthetic post-truth. With video, audio, and text deepfakes, AI allows anyone to create a convincing alternative reality. You see a video of the president declaring war, and it's fake. You hear audio of your boss firing you, and it's fake. You receive a call from your daughter pleading for help, crying, and it's a robot imitating her voice. The foundation of human society is trust. I trust my eyes, I trust my ears. AI has broken that trust. And when you can't trust your senses, you go crazy. Society fragments into paranoid tribes, each believing its own version of reality, unable to dialogue with its neighbor. This is not a technical problem. This is a civilizational collapse. A society that disagrees on what is true cannot solve problems. It only spins in circles of accusation and fear. Now, let's talk about the title of this video. Why is it getting worse? Because technology doesn't stop. Moore's law still holds true, but now applied to intelligence. What AI does today is the worst version it will ever have. It will only get better. And the speed of this improvement is exponential, not linear. We humans evolve linearly. It takes us 20 years to form an adult. AI doubles its capacity every 6 months. It's a race we've already lost before the start. What we're seeing now with ChatGPT and Midjourney are toys. What's coming next are autonomous agents. Software that has objectives. Software that can plan, execute, correct errors, and learn on its own without human supervision. Imagine an entire company running without employees, a decentralized autonomous enterprise. It has a digital product, it has AI-powered marketing, it has AI-powered customer service, and all the profit goes to a single owner or a group of shareholders. There are no salaries, there are no payroll taxes, there are no benefits. It's the wet dream of financial capitalism and the absolute nightmare of humanism. We are moving towards a world where capital is completely disconnected from labor. In 2008, the rich needed the poor to work and consume. In the AI economy, the rich only need servers and electricity. The mass of workers becomes unnecessary. And history teaches us that when a group of people becomes economically irrelevant, the result is never peaceful. The worst is yet to come because we haven't yet felt the full impact of this obsolescence. We're in the denial phase. We're playing around with chatbots, finding them funny. We're using AI to make memes. But the wave is forming on the horizon, and it's a tsunami. The layoffs in the tech sector last year weren't due to a bad economy. They were an efficiency adjustment. And efficiency in modern corporate vocabulary means replacing people with algorithms. And what happens to the human mind when it realizes it's obsolete? Depression, anxiety, increased suicide rates, an epidemic of loneliness. We're already seeing young people preferring AI virtual girlfriends to real women because AI doesn't judge, doesn't demand, doesn't have bad days. We're replacing the necessary friction of human relationships with the aseptic convenience of digital relationships. We're isolating ourselves in cocoons of synthetic pleasure while the real world crumbles outside. The 2008 crisis was a warning. It was an earthquake that cracked the walls of our economy. The AI crisis is the climate change of the soul. The water level is rising and will flood everything we know about work, love, truth, and purpose. There will be no government rescue package to save your self-esteem. There will be no central bank to print new life purpose for you. So is there any way out, or are we condemned to be biological batteries in a world governed by silicon? The only way out is the radical rescue of humanity. If the machine is perfect, logical, fast and tireless, we must embrace what we are, imperfect, emotional, slow and fragile. The value of the future will not be in what can be automated, but in what can only be felt. Real empathy, care, touch, art made with pain, philosophy made with doubt. We need to create a human economy where we pay a premium for the guarantee that something was made by human hands, thought by a human mind, lived by a human heart. We need to disconnect in order to reconnect. We need to stop feeding the machine with our attention and start feeding our communities. Resistance against the AI crisis isn't about laws or prohibitions, because technology is unstoppable. Resistance is about refusing to become a robot. It's about refusing to accept convenience as the supreme value of life. It's about choosing the hard path, the slow path, the real path. The year 2008 taught us that giants can fall. The AI crisis is teaching us that we humans are smaller than we thought, but also more precious than we imagined. What's at stake isn't our bank account. What's at stake is the definition of what it means to be alive. And this battle, the battle for the preservation of the human soul in the face of algorithmic optimization, is the most important battle our species has ever faced. And it's happening now, inside your head, while you decide whether to close this video and scroll through your feed to see more machine-generated content, or whether to lift your eyes from the screen and look at the real world which still exists, waiting for you before it's too late. The worst is yet to come, yes, but the end of the story hasn't been written yet. The pen is still, for now, in our hand. The question is, do we have the courage to write something that the machine cannot predict?